hope, positivity. Show up. There's not a crash, there's an opportunity for you to show up, be positive, be persistent. Fall, you get back up. You can live in fear or you can live in productivity. You can get through the day and realize you got through the day. The earth didn't fall, the earth didn't crash. The life is still here. You can play hurt, meaning you may not feel 100% good, but you can still show up. You're gonna learn have to you're gonna have to learn how to play hurt a little bit. Backslash, it's great to see you, man. I was love seeing that comment that you left for me. It was great to know you're still with me. And my man Backwoods from the Pacific Northwest, one of my 3 members. Thank you, Backwoods, man. Good to see you. Thank you for staying with me. You were persistent. Backslash, Backwoods, I know you were. Living Good, David Lopez. Some of the good people that watch my channel, they were persistent. You fall, you get back up. Tenacity. That's how you overcome an obstacle. See, for most of society, right, we're not geniuses. We all have different areas of intelligence. Some are mechanically inclined, some are artsy, some are whatever, right? Some are caretakers. Whatever your thing is, very few people are rocket scientists, but even rocket scientists still need this principle to overcome an obstacle. One is, I always tell you have to show up. If you're a genius, but you don't show up, you don't do anything. You don't overcome. If you're a barista and you don't show up, you don't overcome. If you're a nurse and you don't show up, you don't overcome. If you're a mechanic, if you're a YouTuber on the side, if you're a pizza delivery person, show up. The genius of showing up is to overcome an obstacle. Show up to yourself on a holiday weekend. What does that mean? Well, this is not for the very young. This is for a person who's starting to work on themselves in a mature way while still embracing young childlike spirit. On a holiday weekend, wake up early. Be productive, do exercise, then have fun. Make time for fun. But unless you're on prom weekend getting drunk down at the Jersey Shore, which is crowded. I'm in Florida. Look at these palm trees. All the crowds are gone. Beautiful women still here. I'm not paying state income tax, and I'm not fighting for funnel cakes. Click the thumbs up if you overcame the Jersey Shore. Click the thumbs up if you overcame having to go to the liquor store on the weekend to have fun. Click the thumbs up if you showed up every day this week. You didn't take off extra. Click that thumbs up. I want to tell you that there is so much value for the regular layman person, meaning that the average person and the below average and the above average. There's so much value in getting yourself in position by showing up to overcome obstacles. But remember to take care of yourself well. Why? Because there's a time to pull back for privacy, like I've shared recently, so that you can make sure physically you feel well, because when you don't feel well, it's hard to do anything. But remember this. Sometimes you got to play a little hurt. You're never going to feel great all the time, every day. Okay. Now, there's a difference between being very hurt and having a mild headache. David Lopez, $2 super chat. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you very much. And my man John Pond's in here. I want everyone in here. David Lopez, I want to pay that blessing to me forward. Everyone in here, go to John Pond's channel. He's on a journey to try to get 1,000 subs. I was there. Good to see you, Steve. I saw you trolling me a little bit, but I know it was out of love because you care for me and you appreciate my videos. But I saw you on the guy from Colorado's channel saying Sam got bitter. Well, I want to tell you, brother, I know, I'm open to criticism, and I appreciate you still watching. But I want to tell you, if I take time not to make videos, to take care of myself and show up to my main job, that's not getting bitter, that's getting better. Why? Because you see the guy who had a mental breakdown, who doesn't make consistent videos, and I respect him because I know he was a fan too, even though he got carried away. But I want to tell you this, guys, you don't get ahead. I want to thank you, Steve. I want to thank everyone. It's not to be negative, but I want to say this positive. I'm trying to do things better because I hear you. I hear you, Steve. I love you. I love you. Maybe it wasn't you, Steve. I apologize. Because I do recognize, too, there's been times when I've accused people, it hasn't been accurate. So I apologize for that. I want to thank anyone for watching, because I said this to myself too the other day, that Sam, remember, even when someone doesn't like you, if they're watching, that means they get something out of it. Okay. And so I recognize that too. So I want to be more mature. I want to overcome being at an immature place on YouTube. That's not easy. Okay. But I thank you, Steve. I do. And I thank you, Backlash, and I thank you, David Lopez. But I want to share with you this other thing, okay, about overcoming an obstacle. Like, you just saw me work through an obstacle, right? To overcome an obstacle is part of the journey to get to a goal. Because, you know, you may say, well, yeah, I have a goal of being wealthy, so I want to hit the lottery. I want to get inheritance, etc., etc. And I have not met at any of those things. But I want to tell you, you can't keep that goal if you don't have a foundational structure to your life. Like, you see many people that hit the lottery and then are broke. Why? Maybe they're good. Maybe their weekends are filled with getting drunk and partying. It's okay if you're young. I've been there. But again, how old are you now? You know, maybe they don't look into bonds, S&P index funds, a certain amount of savings, pay down their debt. Maybe they just look at single stocks, Bitcoin, high risk. And I've done risky things. None of this is a judgment. This is to build you up to overcome an obstacle. If you have a driver's license, you overcame an obstacle. You passed a certification. Persistence. Maybe you didn't pass your driver's license test the first time. Every goal requires failure and showing back up. Tony, I want to thank you. Good to see you in here. I want to get to all these comments too. Danny Love and Arouser. Self-care is number one priority. I'll tell you this. If you don't feel well, you can't do anything you want to do. But I want to tell you this. There's sometimes when you have to show up even when you don't feel 100%. Because you're never always going to be 100%. Always tell you something, not in judgment, but in observation for your own benefit, not for mine. When someone complains about life, whether unaffordable housing, whether they can't find a good job, whether they're doing bad in life, whether they think a crash is coming, what you should ask them is, what time did they wake up? What have they done the past 3 weeks? What's their daily routine? And how do they tell you right there how they take care of themselves? And then you will get the answers to why they think the way they think. Do they date a person? They live with a person? That's not their first subscriber. You know, like, you know, that drinks alcohol and they don't drink alcohol. I want to tell you, people around you will make or break you. The people in your inner circle should be your number one fans, not your 3,000 subscriber. The people around you, if you don't no longer want to drink, shouldn't drink. The people around you, as soon as you start to do better by yourself, and then they see you start to do better, and then they want to try to come back in your life, you better be careful who you let back in your life. Why? Because that's backsliding. Like, I got my great guy Backslash in here tonight. You want to know how you backslide? Watch the movie Boomerang, okay? And it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, it's a principle. Meaning that you get sucked in, you get seduced into putting someone else's self-care above your own. And this is not anti-relationship. This is just, every healthy relationship requires that you have to learn to spend time with yourself, take care of yourself, and enjoy yourself, and then overflow into any relationship. So you lose yourself. Because it's your own fault, not their fault. Why? Because you didn't take care of yourself. That you're an adult. What are we talking about? Overcome an obstacle. What's the number one obstacle of life? Relationships, starting with yourself. And all I can tell you in life, guys, to overcome means that you take a deep look at the level of attention, the level of care, and persistence that you give to yourself and your responsibilities. And let's go back to these live comments. Mr. Lenny, hey, good to see you. Mr. Lenny, you're doing some wild things. Well, I want to tell you this. I understand that, and I want to speak positivity, not negativity. And I want to thank everyone in here tonight, okay, that showed me love, because that's what it's about, guys. Not about speaking. One thing I've learned, well, I just get it reinforced. I mean, again, in real life, I believe in being very positive, and that's my experience with people. Online, it's a little bit different because it's just a virtual communication is different than a physical. And people can say a lot of different crazy things virtually that they won't physically. Um, and then you get wrapped up into that algorithm. So what I've learned in this virtual lesson, I apply in real life because I've also seen this in real life. You're not going to yell at someone and them change, or you're not going to yell and shame them. Rants are fun. Rants are interesting. But the most important rant that you need to observe, because a rant is entertainment, even with some information, is when you find yourself getting ready to rant or get upset, whether in real life or whether online, pull back a second. This is part of overcoming uncontrolled emotion. Pull back. And just remember, before you go on this rant, no matter what you say, how strong you say it, even if you make great points, certain people are not going to change. Then remember to yourself, you're wasting energy on something that doesn't change. Put that energy back on you. See, when you pull, and this is especially too, I want to address this a little bit to younger men, but even though all men struggle, and I got to see mothers argue with daughters too, so it could apply to anyone. But I would just share with you, pull back a little bit from that urge and channel that energy for something better, because it's just it's going to help you. Hey Charlie, good to see you, man. How are you? How you been, Charlie? Good to see you. Traveling over 50. Hey, I watch one of your videos every day. Thank you. You are so wise and inspirational. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you, Manny. Glad to catch you live. Like your channel. I appreciate that very much. Thank you, Charlie. Always a pleasure seeing you. You too. Steve, superstar Billy Graham, RIP. Yeah, Billy Graham, I mean, I guess you may mean the evangelist. He had certain good characteristics, certain things. I mean, everything is a different time era. Not really my style, but I understand what you're saying. Charlie, great message. Thank you. Charlie, always enjoy hearing your wisdom. Well, thank you. Just remember, too, that the most important thing is showing up, right? Because just being here and remembering the need for people to grab onto a little bit, but mainly to communicate. People need someone to talk to. People need something to watch. And remember, if you're a creator, you need something to do. You can have great ideas, but not show up. There's plenty of people that have great ideas. And maybe some of you in here tonight. Tony, you're doing great, brother. There's plenty of people. Oh, I'm sorry. Tony corrected me about Steve's comment. Nope, Billy Graham was a wrestler. Oh, Billy Graham the wrestler. I thought you meant the evangelist. He was a champ in the 70s. I apologize. I didn't realize that. I would tell you that I was watching wrestling interviews like with Ric Flair and stuff like that. And those guys really took a beating, man. They showed up a lot hurt. They did a lot of drugs too, though, with steroids and everything else, and drinking. I'm surprised a lot of them passed away. So just remember that too, no matter how wise you are, no matter how strong, we all gonna pass. But don't make that, no, that's not a sad thing. That's a thing to just remember. Take life one day at a time and focus on one day at a time. I was talking to someone today, they had a little anxiety, they had car problems, they're getting a little bit older in life, and they got relationship problems. And that's what I tell you too, there's some seniors that are in relationships, they still have relationship problems. And they still have car problems, they have life problems. And that's what I tell my young people, build up that nest egg, that Social Security, those investments. And because I want to tell you, the world never stops. But the other thing I want to tell you, I was talking about that with that person. I was like, well, how do you overcome the obstacle? I said, well, one is take it one day at a time. You got through another day. Two is always get a second opinion about certain things, Three is when you're in a relationship and two people have opposite dreams, there's a clash of coming. Okay. And I don't tell people per se what to do in a relationship. I give my opinion, obviously, but I always look at it for myself, right? Like, if you're not in alignment with where you're at, the quicker you can get out of where you're at, the better. Why? Because it comes to head. Whether you're 78 or 38 or 48, it's going to eventually come to head. And I don't want to say just jump around, because there's some value in staying in an uncomfortable situation to grow through it. But there's no value in staying in a dead end road. Smiling in my dreams. Hey, good to see you. Let me go back to his comments in order. Country. Hey, Country Club. Thank you for your videos and helpful advice. I grew up in New Jersey as well. Well, that's awesome, man. Yeah, thank you for the comment. I'm grateful I grew up in New Jersey. It was great opportunities. I was telling someone last night, like, the other thing, like, even when I lived in New Jersey, there was times where I drove an hour and a half away from where I lived to the job I was at. So, like, if you're in an area that doesn't have immediate opportunity, the same way you take a road trip is the same way you can commute. Good job. Jump on. Life is full of obstacles. You know it. But I'm glad to know people like Sam. I'm glad to know you. It's reciprocal. That will help encourage you that obstacles are meant to be overcome. Yes, even though it sucks. For me, I would just give everyone what they want, give me what I want. I don't understand why life is like that, but I don't spend time anymore trying to figure out why life is like that. I just try to say, okay, this is what it is. How can I make it better? Nothing's perfect, but how can I make it better? And that's an endless goal. It never stops. And that used to overwhelm me. But then it's okay. Let me just take it one goal at a time, one step at a time, fall, get back up. And you're doing that, John Pond, and you've done that. And I always say, too, look back at your successes to get encouragement when you get weak. I told my mom that. I said, Mom, look what you made it through. You were able to get through a divorce. You worked a couple of jobs. My father paid child support. He did his thing as well. But, she raised 3 kids also. So when you feel weak and you can't make a big decision, look at what you've accomplished. John Pond, you got your real estate license. You sold a house. You got back in the workforce. You are 80% there to monetization. Sometimes in life we feel like, oh my God, I'm not making any more progress. But remember to put a percentage on where you're at. If you have 800 subs, you're 80% there. Now don't count on YouTube or any 1099 for 80% of your income. It's a side hustle until you have 8 years of tax returns showing you that you can make it your main hustle. There's exceptions, but that's my rule. So you're doing it, okay? Because you're doing all the things I just said. Steve, thank you again, Steve, for staying with me. Superstar was champion of WWF. Thank you for correcting me. I appreciate that. I truly do. Where was I at? Steve. Smile in my dreams. Just my opinion, but pets shouldn't live in cars or vans. I feel sorry for those animals and avoid those watching those channels. I can understand your perspective. I thought about that as well. But then I also think about the perspective. I have seen pets chained in the back of a house under bad conditions. So I have seen both. And I have seen people being able to care for their pets at a high level in a vehicle. So I totally get your point, though. But obviously, it is a case-by-case analysis. If you're retired, then yeah, I mean, I could see, or if you have a caretaker that could take care of the pet while you go to work. But yeah, if you're retired, then it's different. But I always say, like, it takes away from self-care time because you have to divide some of your time to take care of a pet. And when you're on wheels, you're constantly moving. And for you and for that pet, you have to put some structure to your day because humans are creatures of habit and so are animals. And you need a certain amount of a routine. But there are seasons, depending on the age. The older the pet gets and the older you get, the more stability you need. Okay, I remember I watched an old Western and they were getting ready to go on a long horse ride to this other town, and the old dog wanted to come with them. And the old guy said, honey, and talking to the dog, you're too old to go on this trip. I know you want to, but you wouldn't like it. Because traveling, as you get older, is not an adventure. It's a strain on you physically, mentally, and just as it's a strain on you, it's a strain on your pet. Crazy for books. Hey, Aaron. Hey, guys. Great to see you. Danny, I'm from Argentina, and it's a pleasure to learn with you. Well, Danny, it's great to have you. Shout out to Argentina. I know a couple people in my younger days from Argentina. That's great, man. Jim, good evening, Sam. Good evening to you. I always enjoy your videos. Thank you. Such great, honest advice and very appreciative. Thank you. I try to do my best. They're not perfect, but I remember there's something. And sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not so good, but just keep showing up. Persistence. That's how you overcome. And you do get better. Anything you do consistently, you get better. And then, when you stop doing it, you got to get back in a rhythm. Um, but like I said, guys, you don't have to be in the Hall of Fame. Uh, you know, and the other part of overcoming obstacle is, yeah, you need a little grace of God, you need a little luck, whatever you want to call it, but you get the luck through showing up, through persistence, and then yeah, maybe one of your videos goes viral, maybe somebody calls you that you used to work with, has a great opportunity for you, um, whatever. There's different times in life where it's like something just falls in your lap. But the only way it does and the only way it stays in your lap is when you have those first two things. You consistently show up and you're overall persistent. You have a level of endurance where you're going to get back up. Oh, Smiling in My Dreams and John Pond. Thank you. I was screaming, but someone's outside. Thank you, Smiling in My Dreams. That was very nice of you, and I totally understood your comment. Thank you. You've been very gracious to me. And John Pond, you're my guy, man. Everyone sub him up. Let's get him to 1,000. Great advice. Time to make it rain in a virtual strip club before I have a great night. Well, John Pond, I hope you enjoy your live. I love your new studio. You're definitely going to do great on your videos with sound engineering and setting up, a gaming studio or however you're going to perceive it. But I definitely see you as a podcaster. But you've been gracious, brother, and you've overcome and you will continue to get better. You're only going to get better. You're young. Sometimes when I have been a little bit rough on some of the younger viewers, I said, Sam, you're in your 40s now. You got to remember when you were in your 20s. And, so for all my younger people out there, forgive me if I've been a little short with you, because I know, when you're younger still, you're developing a little bit more. So I understand that. And you're going to do great. Aaron, crazy for books. In therapy, that's called inequality of the shared dream. What's that? And you are totally right, Sam. Inequality of the shared dream. That must have been when I said, if you're with someone and they have a separate dream or they're going in a separate direction than you. Like as an example, I was talking to someone today. Their spouse wants to live in Colorado and they want to live in Florida. That's tough. That's a lot of, that's two different visions. Thank you, Aaron. Country Club. Hey, you had a 72, what was my first, I bought of my neighbors. Well, that's great. Yeah, I had a bunch of different cars. I had a used car as my first car. Awesome. Congratulations. Jim, life is dealing with me some tough circumstance right now. I'm sorry to hear that. And we'll be trying to figure out best home space. I like extended stays at hotels due to no lease. Just curious your thoughts on those versus apartment. More money and more destitute. Extended stays, if you're going to be in a nicer hotel, it's, you're looking at $100, $200 per night. If you're going to be in a trap house extended stay, you may be looking at $50, $60 a night. And it's like basically, you don't want to live in those. It's not worth it, So I would say you're better off in a shared apartment or a small studio apartment, but your tough circumstances, maybe you don't have the right credit where you can't lease, or you have some type, or you don't have the background check you can lease. I understand that. I don't say that in judgment, but a lot of people listening, they have to understand that. What I run into is a lot of people, it doesn't make sense for them to stay in an extended stay. Like I say, it's more money than a lease, and it could be more dangerous if you don't spend enough money. So why do people do it? Well, they don't have the right credit to rent an apartment, or they can't pass a background check if there's one. So what would be my advice? It's a tough circumstance, like I said. So if you didn't have the credit and you didn't have the background check, my first advice would be, work on your income. Because even if, you were sleeping under a bridge or in a car and you had income, you can dig out of your tough circumstance. So instead of recommending, because people tend to ask me a lot that on this channel about housing. And I always say, well, housing is not the answer to life. It's a shelter. The answer to life is, what time did you wake up? What do you do all day? Like, I'm surprised. I see some of these people and they're not destitute either because they have nice vehicles, but they're in their vehicles and they're in there all day. So it's like, you feel bad for some of these people, but guys, I mean, and girls, I mean, it doesn't matter where you live. If you're going to be in there all day and do nothing, it's like, I don't have the answer for that. And I'm not saying that in judgment, but that's my observation. If you're in a van or if you're in a house, and I'm not talking about those who are seriously disabled or seriously in an emergency, but obviously, like I always say, if someone's typing me a coherent sentence and they have the ability to process information and communicate, then I go under the thought process that most people have a decent level of ability to do something. And so that's what the answer to life is. Not housing. The answer to life is productivity, using your abilities, whatever they are, whether they're to sweep a floor, whether they're to engineer a building, or whether they're to manage money if you're on a certain investment income, fixed income, etc. But even when you do all that, you got to do something. Someone was saying the other day, or one of the comments, that they don't like to work during the day because they like to be outside and get sunlight. Well, my kind of counter thought was, they currently don't work and they don't go out in the sunlight, and they're not in shape. It's like, if the counter argument is you can't do the things you want to do during the day, if you work during the day, well, then what do you do during the day? Are you going to the gym twice a day? Are you walking? Are you playing your instrument? What, and this is not in judgment. This is to look at yourself to get what you want out of life, because you're not going to overcome and get to your goal unless you measure it and you look at yourself and say, how do I get there? Emergency housing, emergency situations are just that. They're an emergency. They come up. But you address them and you overcome them by then setting up a stable daily routine that addresses your responsibilities, your desires, your hobbies, and your task. All those things. Crazy for books. I tried coconut shrimp for the first time last week and thought of you was delicious. Yeah, it is. I can't eat it too much because I start to, I put on weight quick if I start to eat crazy too much. So, but I do enjoy it, and I do want to enjoy life. So it is a good treat. Hey, Seth, what's up, brother? I met him in New Jersey. How are you and your girlfriend, man? Hey, Sam, how are you? Good to see you, Seth. It's a blessing to see you, man. I know I'm doing better than you. Why? Only because I'm not in New Jersey at the Jersey Shore on a holiday weekend like Memorial Day weekend, which it is as I make this. I can only imagine the crowds. What happens up north and on a holiday weekend in the beginning is everyone starts to celebrate summer and they crowd the Jersey Shore, and it's just so unenjoyable. And that's why I love being in Florida. But Seth, I love you, man. It was great to meet you in person. Shout out to you. Crazy for books. Aaron, I didn't like Savannah in person. Oh, she's talking about she went to Georgia. That was her dream. Yeah, your dream looks different when you get up close to it, It's like the person of your dreams look different when they don't got the wig on, And so the guy of your dream may look different when you see his ass naked, whatever it is for you. So what should you do when your dream is not what you wanted? Go back to self-care. Go back to showing up to your responsibilities. Go back to the foundation. You got to build your house on a foundation. Go, And if you're living below your means and you're taking care of yourself and you make a mistake, you move to the wrong area, you buy the wrong thing, then you can pivot, you can adjust, you can adapt. And you overcome, because as you take good care of yourself again and take some privacy back, then you have a new vision. Okay. And you're able to see something new. You only see something old when you hang around those who have the old mindset of years past. You only have the old vision when you're trying to prove to other people out of your hate for other people rather than your joy for what you want. Like I remember LeBron James one time in the beginning of his career when he was struggling to win a title. He had said that he lost himself because he was playing the game out of hate to prove to other people that he was a champion. And he reminded himself to have fun again so that he can play with the passion and joy he wanted to, and he eventually won the championship. And that's a key lesson all of us go through. And then she goes, it changed dramatically, so I went further south. Yeah, everything does change. There's no doubt about that. Time is like a river. You can never touch the same spot twice. When you struggle with dealing with that, a community, a town, something changes. Just remember to let go of the past. It's your job to adapt, not the community. It's your job to adapt, not the country. It's your job to be fluid, not your partner's. And when you put the onus back on you and you remember that, you know what, I can change, I can redirect my life. Why don't people do it then? Because change is hard, and uprooting again and setting a new goal is hard again, and dealing with distractions. Like even right now, I got to deal with a distraction. So how do I do it? Well, I say, Sam, it's always something. You try to do everything perfect, and there's a distraction. You had the perfect game plan, you had the perfect 5 people on the court, and there's a person in the crowd trying to distract you. You had the perfect outfit on, and you spilt coffee on your shirt. Everything was going good, but the distraction. How do you deal with the distraction? Well, one is if you're showing up, you're doing better than most people. 2 is if you're persistent, you'll overcome the distraction. 3 is you'll get the grace of God. You'll get some luck because you're building a foundation to deal with that obstacle. David, I stayed at the extended stay in January, February. I paid $1,500 a month, cooked there every day. Yeah, I think the average rent right now in America is between $1,500 to $1,800 a month. So the question again is, why do people then not just get an apartment? Well, again, a lot of people don't have the credit or they don't have the background to get it because that's what leases require. So they go to extended stays, but they're paying just as much as they would for a apartment. So, but I go back to, then what's the answer? The answer is your daily routine. What times you wake up today, what'd you do? Because after you wake up, after you cook a meal, you got all day to do something. And when in doubt, go for a walk. When in doubt, do something productive, whether it's deliver pizza, clean a house, wire a house, make a video, and make a video about yourself. I fell in that trap too. Focus on yourself. Every time you get tempted to focus on someone else more than yourself, unless you're raising a young child or something like that, focus on yourself. David, I'm sure I speak for a lot of here, Sam. I'm really enjoying these live chats again. Well, thank you. I'm trying to refine myself. Thank you. You give some really good advice. Thank you. You are wise beyond your years. Thank you. I still fail. I'm still imperfect. My words are not absolute truth. Everyone has their own individual journey. So I want to thank you, and then I want to state that because I don't hold myself so high, and I don't hold myself low. I want everyone to do the best they can for them, and same for me. So thank you, David. Crazy for books. David, are you on the road or do you have a home base? Aaron, I enjoy these lives too, but hope Sam isn't hurt by it and keeps balance. Yeah, No, that's the goal. And to be honest with you, I really, the main problem was a few things. One is I was making a huge change in my life by buying a home base. Two is I was getting involved in other people, like people will come in here, we'd form a connection, and then I get too involved in their channel or their life. And it wasn't, the trolls per se, it was actually more me getting too involved with people. It's just like when a doctor gets too involved with his patients, when a therapist gets too involved, when a social worker gets too, you want to be involved and engaged because it shows you care. But if you get too involved, it's not good because people are going to do what they want and you're going to do what you want. So now I want to be engaged. I want you guys to know that I know your story, but I also got to let go. I'm not going to get too involved. And I'm not going to maybe go live every day. I'm not going to share all my personal information. So I'm going to refine some things. And it won't be perfect either. And I don't know how long it'll last. But I take life one day at a time. I remember to prioritize this for what it is, a creative passion. I do feel also a gift. I think I may be able to help some people, but I don't bank on it. And a side hustle. All those things wrapped in one. And that's it. I'll just take it like that. Country club. Every time I go back to Jersey, I have to get, one pork roll, egg, and cheese sandwich. I'm not going to lie about it. I haven't done that the past couple times I've been up there. But if you ask me, one of the things I really liked when I was a foodie living in New Jersey, it was the breakfast sandwiches, the pork roll, egg, and cheese, the bacon, egg, and cheese at the delis, because they were delicious. That's true. David Retract, I'm sorry I missed that. Eddie Preach, thank you, Eddie. Jimmy, hey, Jimmy, Jimmy, you've been a long time viewer too, man. Thank you. My girlfriend was driving 35 in a school zone, and I told her to slow down. Yeah, I got a ticket like that. I told her, remember what happened to Sammy? I'll tell you. That was a classic moment in history. I can't believe you remember that. That was classic, man. Good to see you, Jimmy, and thank you, man. You've been a long-time viewer, man. I really appreciate that. Let me just click on it. If I've missed a comment, guys or girls, please forgive me. You could type it again in the live chat. I got to pull it up on my laptop. I got distracted, and I didn't pull it up on my laptop. If you haven't already, click the thumbs up. Leave a comment below. Let me know how you're doing out there. Hope you're doing well. Thank you again to my members, Backwoods. Crazy for Books, Aaron, Super Chat. Thanks for all you do, Aaron. Thanks for all you do. You raised your sons. You built your career, and you're very kind-hearted. And that's a lot, okay? Remember, guys and girls, I mean, you don't have to be a multimillionaire in life. You don't want to be destitute, but and it's okay to have a goal to be a multimillionaire. What you want to do is have a healthy relationship with yourself. That's number one goal. Number two is you want to do things you don't want to do in your career and your personal life early on. Build habits of doing things you don't want to do to get where you want to get. Because as you get older, you want to be able to call more of the shots. Not because you're power hungry, but because you want to be a kind manager. Because you want to be a generous but wise steward of your money and be able to give at the right time. And you want to live free so that you don't get too burdened down with the world. And you could be yourself. You don't have to feel entrapped. But you still, but again, you got to build that by doing certain things you don't want to do. So one is you're not scared to do certain things you don't want to do. It's like, you could fear work, you could fear a project, but once you do it and once you start to write the emails and submit the things or pull the wire or clean the house, once you start doing it, you overcome that fear. It's like if you don't do it and you don't show up, it all goes back to showing up. Then you start to get more anxiety. You question yourself even more. And then you start to build a crisis in your life. And then you start to drown in worry and all these things, and we need help along the way. And I pray people get help and opportunity, but you will, because like I said, guys, there's, but let's stay positive. Let's stay focused. Thank you, guys. I hope I'm getting everyone. You've been very gracious on the super chats, on the comments, on the thumbs up. And thank you to my members, Geo, Adam, Backwoods. I hope you guys and girls know, and I'm trying to refine myself as best I can here, that I appreciate you. And I'm not pandering. Okay, you guys know I try to be as, you know. So, thank you. Okay. I hope I get to these right. Oh yeah, Seth. Unofficial start of summer here. It's a disaster. The bad part is Memorial Day weekend in the Jersey Shore is a disaster. The good part is the good part is right after that it gets good. Why? Because then, oh, so I gotta move. Fucking. Why do I have to move? Because we got a lurker. Huh. Unbelievable, guys. You park all by yourself and there's someone lurk right next to you. And as soon as I see that stroll, they start to stroll towards your car. Yeah, guys, there's nothing I want to talk about at night with a stranger. Okay, nothing. Believe me. I'll talk online, but I'm not going to talk at night to someone lurking in the parking lot. I don't understand it, man. And this is why you always got to have a peripheral vision, guys. Click the thumbs up if you understand this. Because there's always someone watching you, and when someone's sitting outside at night looking at their phone and then looking at you, it's like, come on, man. Give me 1 second here, guys. We'll figure this out real quick. Huh. Unbelievable. Yep, this is the real life, guys. You got to keep it moving. Because I want to tell you, you got to be proactive, guys. Send the email and start the car. Why? Because I want to tell you guys, these people, they're just looking. And they ain't doing a live feed, guys. They're doing a lurk session. Huh. I can't win with these people. Keep it moving, Jimmy Jones. You totally get it, man. Huh. And you wonder why I was distracted. Because for 15 minutes, almost since I started that live feed, I saw that person sitting there. And I was like, well, I knew not good, but I wasn't going to disrupt the live feed as long as they kept their space. But as soon as to me, it's not 6 feet. As soon as someone gets within 60 feet of me, that's all right. I'm not going to wait to find out if they want. I want to tell you guys, don't even wait. Okay. Just keep it moving. Okay. Use those wheels, guys. Good to see you again, Seth, man. Yeah, Wildwood's crazy this week, but it'll be better. Crazy for books. Awesome, David. Do you know Port St. Richie? I've heard of it. Oh, no, he's talking to David. She's talking to David. Seth, how's your mom and sister? Mama's doing well. I think everyone's doing well overall. I talk to her every day, and nothing crazy is going on. I think overall positive, so I'm thankful for that. Yeah, overall. Thank you, Seth. David, I do, Aaron. I am in Spring Hill. Drive a cab here. Aaron, awesome, David. I love Tampa area. Eddie, hello from Lake County. Hey, Eddie. Lake County's in the house. David, been driving here in Clearwater area for about 25 years. Ready for a change. Yeah, I can understand that. Even if you're in a nice area, you know there is something for a little variety of life. The only problem with that is, just make sure you go out there and see what's out there. Like sometimes I say, do I want to travel somewhere? And I start to think about all the times I've traveled through North Carolina, South Carolina, D.C., Pennsylvania, Vermont. I know I haven't gone west, but I say, Sam, when you wake up, it's the same thing. You want to go to a Starbucks. You want to go to the gym. You need Wi-Fi to do your productivity. You need a beach to enjoy your hobbies. And it don't matter where you go. That's what you need. Because I don't want to just sit and I see people do it here in Florida. They just sit in a car all day. They're sitting in their house all day. And no disrespect to them. But that's not what I want to do. So, and so I don't want to just, but everyone's different. David, that was my exact problem. And it's still the same. My credit still isn't good enough. Yeah, no, I empathize with that. It's like anything in life. Like if you dig a big enough hole with your credit, and my credit was jacked up for a while, I dug out of it. But it was tough. It's tough. It took about 10 years. So what saved me? Well, I just kept working while I dug out of it. If I would have stopped working, that's when you really get behind the eight ball, guys. If you just give up on life, but it's tough. I know everyone has their own circumstance, so I'm not judging. But I understand how people get in a hole. So how do you overcome that hole? You got to take it one step at a time. and you fall, you get back up. That's the only thing I can tell you. And then you'll get luck and grace along the way. Why? Because momentum and success kind of builds on itself. And that's how you get grace and luck as you do what you need to do. But when you don't do what you need to do, that's how obstacles become bigger. Okay. Like the less you do what you need to do, the bigger the obstacles get, right? And then that's how you just say fuck it and you just drown. Um, Thank you again, Aaron. You're so gracious. All the people gracious on the super chats. Thank you. TT with me. R.I.P. Tina Turner. I agree. 83 years old. She lived past the average human life expectancy, which is 78, and she lived a full life. She used her gifts and talents. She had her obstacles, struggle with the relationships, etc. So no one, even rich and successful, famous people, they still struggle with relationships and things. And I always tell you guys, like if you get depressed and you say, I'm but ugly, I wish I looked good, I wish I was rich, my life be perfect. Well, just look, how many times did J-Lo get divorced? Tina Turner was in an abusive relationship. Um, you know, just the list goes on and on. Everyone's got personal problems. I mean, obviously, yeah, again, obviously more money helps, but it doesn't solve life. So, you need a certain amount of money to have the certain essentials. And then you need a little bit more money to have some of your desires and some more comfort. And then the abundance of money is, just abundance. So you just kind of work from there. Crazy for books. I was just in Clearwater last week, David. Small world. Yes, it is. Crazy for books, aka Aaron. Hit that likes. Yeah, if you haven't already, click that thumbs up. I got 32 people watching right now, 23 thumbs up. Thank you for watching, everyone. Richard, hey, Richard, thank you for your comments. Things going good here in Tallahassee. That's awesome. Walking every day in retirement. Can't beat that. Why? Keep your body moving. Try to keep a hobby. And there's nothing wrong with being in retirement and having a side hustle. All those things, long as you're in a healthy, happy place. Good job. Crazy for books, Sam. Have you been to St. Augustine? Yes. Any thoughts? Crowded and drug problem inland. Nice on the barrier island side, but the beaches are not tropical. A little bit of a tourist trap by the castle thing by the inlet. So overall, my thoughts are it's a great place to visit. It's on one of the top places to visit in Florida. And not a bad place to live. I mean, that whole St. John County up there is nice. And there's jobs overflowing from Jacksonville. People always talk about how bad Jacksonville is. That's in a very bad part of the city areas, but there's beautiful suburbs and there's a lot of economic opportunity. But it's not tropical. It's northeast. But I would visit it. My number one place I would live if I was going to be by St. Augustine would probably be Flagler Beach or Palm Coast. A little bit south of that, a little bit more spread out. And that's been my experience. Jimmy James, and thank you again for remembering the ticket. I really enjoyed your season as the inspirational elitist. Yeah, it was like, it was just trying to make the point that guys and girls, I'm going to change. Okay. And obviously, too, there's a little bit of contention going on. And I've heard a lot of people say the word elitist. But what they don't understand is, guys, if you're being productive, you're an elitist. Okay? If you're getting the most out of your life, you're an elitist. And if you're calling someone else an elitist, what time did you wake up today? What do you do every day? Because anytime, this is what I want you guys and girls to do, not to judge, but to observe. Anytime you hear someone blaming an elitist for the way the world is today, ask them what time they woke up today, what's their career, what's their dream life, what are their passions, what are their goals, what's their relationship life. Most of the hate that gets poured on to the powers to be, not all of it, but most of it comes from the fact that people are so mad with their own life. And a lot of it, not all of it, a lot of it has to do with their own decisions. And no one can change that. If you want someone to change that, then you're asking an elitist to come make you do something. It's like, so obviously, look, there are elitists and there are bad powers to be, right? Everything's within proportion. But I went back to Nomad because, I know that's the foundational channel. I know I got mad at Blanton for a while about that, but it was the point I was trying to I was trying to just make a point, but again, I kind of go back to kind of what I learned is it ain't gonna change people. But it was kind of more for myself. Just look, I'll change when I need to change, and I'm not asking permission for that. But at the same time, I don't want to be hurtful just to be hurtful, and I don't want to upset people, especially positive people, for no reason. Um, and so that's what I found myself doing too. And that's what I said to myself, Sam, when you go wild, even though some of the passion is fun, and that's the only time I do it, like when I was doing videos, I'm very calm in real life. Because you see what I'll do, guys. If I see a problem, I'll move. I won't engage. Why? I don't want problems. But I try to share with you guys at times the intense mindset of an elite athlete, even though I'm not an elite athlete, but that's the mindset, right? Not all of us are elite at everything. But whatever you're good at, whatever it is, you don't even have to be elite. That's what you pour your energy into. And that's so let's say this, right? Let's say a car mechanic who's a very great car mechanic. They look at someone who's rich, investor, and they say, look at that elitist. But when they change oil, when they change their own oil and they save $30, $50, and they judge someone for going to Valvoline Express and getting their oil changed by someone, they say, oh, you're stupid. Why don't you just change your own oil? What they don't realize is they're an elitist mechanic. Not everyone has your gift. Everyone has different gifts. That's all. And you're an elitist in your area. But the world wasn't ready for the truth. Well, it was also a reminder to me that there's a lot of pain. There's more pain in the world than peace or prosperity. And a lot of it is to do, not all of it, some of it's to do with just self-induced pain. But I empathize because I'm still human. I go through that too. So I said to myself, Sam, when you're in a painful place, once in a while I do like to hear the rant and the truth telling, but very incrementally. So I said to myself, Sam, there is a greater audience and there is a greater reach with pulling yourself back. And I said, if you want to shit can YouTube, then shit can it. But don't just go out there saying shit to everyone because this is not serving a purpose. And it's not helping you. And so I had to sit back and look at the long game, right? For my own well-being and for the well-being of the channel and for the well-being of others. It's like, once in a while, again, guys, you got to spit fire facts. And I was in the season too. I was just certain, in the zone. But also, I'm not, just like I'm not scared to change seasons. I'm in a season now of saying, listen, calm it down, okay? Long game it. Screaming don't do anything. Don't change. It's fun though. Listen, no one changes. Don't matter how loud you scream. You can scream at your daughter. If you think screaming changes someone, I want you to live with your daughter, your son, or your mother. I want whoever in your house clogs the toilet. I want you to yell at them about clogging the toilet and see if you don't have to call a plumber in 3 months. I want you to yell at a panhandler and tell them to go get a job and see if that makes them get a job. I want to tell you guys, yelling don't work, man. Joe Biden got it right, man. Just yelling don't work, man. And yelling don't work. I mean, not long term. It works short term. It's true. So, for yourself and others, once in a while, spark. Other than that, let it go. I'm late on these comments. Forgive me, guys and girls. Seth, unofficial start of summer here, but still 60s. That's winter for me. Not Florida 80s and 90s yet. That's endless summer for me. I'll be in New Jersey in the fall, and it'll be in the 70s and then eventually the 60s, and I'll enjoy that, brother. Great to see you, Seth. Just doing Shelly. Hey, Shelly. Hello from Washington. Great. You're always very positive. It's a beautiful day today. If you're happy with it, I celebrate your happiness. Getting rid of stuff, Sam. You can't go wrong there. Why? 90% of what people own in a first world country, they don't use. You say inspirational nomad, I'm on hard times right now. I can't get an apartment, there's no housing. My number one question to you, after I ask you what time you wake up, is do you have a storage unit? Because if you tell me you're in tough times and you have a storage unit, I don't think you're evil, but I think it shows me where the crisis is: mental and emotional instability. You can't let go of things that are not useful. You struggle to hold on to the unuseful things, and you waste time taking care of and paying for things you don't use. And you worry about that and you think about that and you don't do anything about it. So why would someone do that? It's not evil. It's hard, because they can't overcome the obstacle of letting go. Good people, loving people, not bad people. So what would be my advice to them? 3 mil trash bag, throw on an inspirational nomad video from when I was spitting fire, and put on heavy metal or gangster rap or I don't know what, something like get you intense, not to hurt other people, not to hurt yourself, but to push yourself over that obstacle. And that's why I tell you, yeah, you shouldn't walk around intense all day, because I mean, you go crazy, you fight people, you fight yourself. You get intense for the moment of truth, throwing things out, changing something in your life, making yourself in a position where you're going to have to do it responsibly while managing risk. Okay. I remember before I played my first football game, I went over to my friend's house and we put on our helmets and we ran into each other. You say that's crazy. Why would you go to your friend's house in the front yard, put on your pads and your helmet and hit each other? To prepare for the intensity, to feel the pain and see if we can overcome it. So you may say, inspirational nomad, I'm a fixed income, my car's going bad, I got a storage unit, it just went up to $200 a month, almost the same as a car payment. What should I do? Well, you probably don't have a football helmet in your house, but I would take a t-shirt, wrap it around your head like Rambo, and I would go for a 2-mile walk. And as I make this video, it's Memorial Day weekend, so just about every part of America right now has mild enough temperature where you could walk outside. Will you do it? Probably not. Why? It sounds good. Okay, it sounds inspiring. But inspiration is just that. It's a Disney show. It's only when you apply the principles that you see in a Disney movie to your life that you make miracles happen. And if you remember that, you're going to help yourself. Good job, Shelly. Country Club. You are a very smart man. Well, so are you. I think just as much as you people. And I want to show you reciprocal respect. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you for sharing your comment. I appreciate you and all you do. I appreciate you also. Thank you, Country Club. Shelly, absolutely. Thumbs up to you. Yeah, you saw that. Yeah, keep it moving. You're damn right, Jimmy James. When in doubt, keep it moving. Avoid conflict. Country Club, yes, sir. Never start a conversation with a stranger at night. Never. Why? What do you have to talk about? I mean, and they're looking at their cell phone. I mean, they could call someone. Yeah. Richard, wow. Glad I got to see this, Sam. You are quick. Guys, I was actually slow because I saw the other person with my Magic Johnson eyes for like 15 minutes. And I don't know if they were doing anything crazy, but I don't want to find out either. Yeah, that's right. I don't want to know nothing, right? Because I'm not, there's plenty of emergency help, okay? I'm in an area where you get plenty of help, and I'm not the one to do it. Okay. Crazy for books. A hand of demonstration of keep it moving. I want to tell you guys, I keep the car. I always looking for an exit. Why? Because guys, there's a reason. If you're ever trained to go into a volatile situation, one of the primary things you're trained is know your exit points. Why? Because you got to be able to know hit that exit before shit get too crazy. Okay. That's right. I'll tell you, I'm always looking at the exit with one eye. How do I get out of here? Just in case. Yeah, click that thumbs up. Seth, got to ask. Still have the back scratch? You damn right, Seth. I got it just for you, brother. Seth, man. It's right here, brother. Okay. The back scratcher is going to make a comeback, probably in the fall. Okay. I'm changing, even right now, I'm overcoming an obstacle. And I use this back scratcher. This was $1 when the dollar store was still $1. Very old school. So what this small hand plastic back scratcher can teach all of us. Number one, inflation is a bigger risk than a crash. If you're waiting for the crash to buy a house, houses just went up another 5%. So did the stock market, up 10% this year. Does that mean you should rush and buy a house? No. Does that mean you should wait 5 years for a crash? No. What does it mean? What time did you wake up today? What did you do today? That's what it means. And all I want to do is scratch that fear right off your soul. Scratch. And remember that time is a valuable thing. If you wait, you're spending time. Sometimes you have to wait. Sometimes you have to seize the moment. Do it below your means. Do it under self-control. And if it doesn't work out, persistence. You say inspirational nomad. I bought a home base, but I don't like it. I bought an RV, but I don't like it. Well, one is, I hope you bought it below your means. But even if you didn't, but that's number one, I hope you did. But if you didn't, what is it going to cost to change? And have you thought it out? And are you willing mentally and emotionally to go through that pain? Most people aren't. Even for me, I said, Sam, would you be willing to change? The good thing about not owning much is, I mean, I always got to think about, guys, I mean, what's the worst that can happen? I'm back where I'm at. Obviously, the worst that can happen is you lose your health. That's number one. And number two is you lose your job. So what does that teach us? One is take care of your health. Don't let your home base make you sick. Two is, that's why you have a side job. And that's why you work early in your career and you keep working so that you have a consistent resume. And hopefully you get grace along the way. Good job. Lucrative. Hello from Newport Beach, California. I saw a couple on a YouTube channel. They got 1 million subscribers. They went to Newport Beach for a while. It looked like a nice area. Good job. Shelly, we have Starbucks and beaches. It's chilly, but it's cool. While I respect every area, I want to respect you. I respect you, Shelly. But it's not tropical, and it's crowded in the summer. I like that they don't have air conditioners in the Pacific Northwest. But I like the Latin vibe of Southeast Florida. I like palm trees. You don't have palm trees. I like sun, not clouds. I like bikinis, not black coats. It's not that my way is for everyone, but this, for me, my dream day is to see a palm tree, to see a bikini, and to see a Starbucks. And to pay no state income tax. And to only leave that environment in the fall for a month or so. Manny, I'm originally from New York, now living in West Palm Beach. Well, shout out to you. West Palm Beach Has some nice areas, and it has some bad areas. Um, when everyone hears West Palm Beach, they all often think of Mar-a-Lago, which is Palm Beach on the barrier island. But if you come over that barrier island, right by the bridge, there's a walking path, and there's a dangerous park right off that walking path, man. There's a lot of homeless people there. But that whole area, the downtown area, I mean, there's some beautiful shops, and it's redeveloping. It will redevelop. And then west, definitely a lot of big homes west of I-95. So it's like every area. There's good and bad. But overall, that's a great positioned area. Why? Well, you got West Palm Beach Airport. You're close to you're close to Miami, close enough to Miami. You're close enough to Boca. You're close enough to big money, high end areas where there is economic opportunity. Um, and, you can get anywhere. What's the negative? Well, it's a little congested depending on where you're at. And there are pockets of bad areas. Riviera Beach is a little suspect. But it's like you're not going to go anywhere where it's perfect. So, um, overall, I still think West Palm Beach and that general area is a good area. But I always tell you people, that's the one thing I've learned, even in the places I go, and there's nothing perfect. So, you just have to ask yourself, am I healthy in this environment? Am I safe? Is there economic opportunity? Am I happy here? And that may change, and that's okay. Good job, Manny. Shout out to you. Shout out to West Palm. David, I'm sure that gets creepy when someone gets close and lurks. It got creepy the minute. To me, when I don't see movement, it gets creepy. What does that mean? Well, like if I'm in a parking lot and someone's walking to their car, it doesn't creep me out. If someone's standing outside of a store to drink their coffee or even smoke their cigarette, it doesn't creep me out. But when someone's standing still in a parking lot for more than 5 minutes or sitting on a curb for more than 5 minutes, it's a red flag out the wazoo. Why? Well, to me, if you had to wait for someone, you'd wait in front of a store right outside the exit. Not in the back of a parking lot, where I try to park to be secluded and not bother people. Does that mean that person was doing something wrong? No, I got no idea, but I want to find out. To me, I'm not like one of these people like, let me see what's going on over here. No, I don't want to know. Because I've seen enough in life. I don't want to know nothing. If it ain't my business. Okay. If there's an emergency, we'll call 911 right now. Because I'm not emergency response. That's right. And outside of that, that's all I could tell you. Okay. Now, if I see someone having a heart attack on the side of the street, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to call 911. I'm not an EMT. I'm going to look to help, but that's the number one way I can help is call 911. So, and the worst thing you can do with anyone lurking or a panhandler or anything is start a conversation. Why? One is, what are you going to talk about? And two is, that's part of the hustle. Part of the hustle is to get you engaged in a conversation. Okay. It's like trolling. Part of the hustle is you leave a crazy comment on someone's channel just to get their reply. And then even if they reply with a smart reply that kind of makes you look stupid, then you just keep going. It never ends. That's the hustle. Guys, and that's why I like just don't play the game. You can't win the game. It's it's a because it's the land of crazy. You can't win in the land of crazy. Everything's crazy. Like you're playing the game, you're trying to play it fair and right. But when you're in the land of crazy, they ain't no right. It's just crazy. Okay? So unless you're gonna get crazy, and if you get crazy, you're in a lose-lose. See, when I evaluate a situation, I say, I can't win here. Time to move on. Yeah, that's how I say, oh shit. What do you think? You think yelling gonna make a difference? You think telling them the 5 steps to wisdom gonna make a difference? Yeah. You think giving them something gonna make a difference? Shit. I say, get the hell out of Dodge. That's what just like that. Don't find out. You're in a land of crazy. Yep. Probably watching your video. I wouldn't be surprised. I get a little suspect on that. Crazy. I think it is crazy. It's landing crazy, man. David, you nailed it. Click the thumbs up, man. You nailed that shit, man. I really understand how your private life needs to stay private. I want to tell you guys, David, that you nailed that, man. Jack Burris from the Class C, man. Jack Burris, man. What's up, brother? Hey, do you still have your home base? Yes. I changed some things up with the RV, and I may share in the future, but I'm still working some obstacles out. I'm overcoming them as we speak. And I overcame one already. But I still have the property. I never see you in your RV anymore. Yeah, because one is, I had an issue where I don't want to share my home base. At least not right now. Two is I had to change I still own the property, but I had to change some things up and I didn't want to share it. And three is, I don't know who, I'm a public figure and I got a private thing that I want to keep private. So the only even reason I shared the purchase of the home base is because it was such a big part of my channel that I kind of felt like the journey had to be shown. Now, if I sell the home base, I've already changed some things up with the home base. If I sell it, I may or may not share it. I'm still struggling with how I want to approach that, but I definitely want to have more things private because, that's just part of, like, to me, I know some people share everything, but for me, that's just part of where I'm at for my well-being. I know it sucks a little bit because I know people would want to know everything. I totally get it. But I got to, above the side hustle, I got to take care of myself. Why? Because that's self-care. But I try to share with you as best I can on that. Thank you. Richard, great point, Sam. You can control yourself, so put focus on yourself. Richard, you're listening. Steve, thank you again, Steve, for staying with me. Hey, Sam, Miami Heat win tomorrow? I don't watch basketball. I don't watch any sports anymore. I used to. But I heard, what is it, the Heat and the Nuggets or something like that in the NBA Finals? Crazy books. The yelling was fun sometimes. Yeah. I saw Nikki Glazer. She's a comedian. She says once in a while, like when she's in bed with a guy, she likes him to yell at her, especially after she talks to her mom because she feels guilty and ashamed and a bad girl. She wants some. I don't want to yell at her. I had a girl like that. She wants, like, I'm not going to yell at you. I don't. I respect everyone's different. I don't want to. I don't like yelling. Nah, and I don't want someone to yell at me. I'm not into that. I see some of these guys. No, I'm not into any of that, man. But I respect everyone gets off on different things. There's nothing to me about that gets me excited. And I think it's a huge disrespect, man. Again, I'm not talking about like you have an argument with someone. I get that once in a while, but I don't want it to be a way of life. I said like on a video or something. Yeah, I get that, but it's crazy. Richard, sell the stuff in your storage unit and let go. Easier said than done. It's a mental thing for a lot of people, and I understand. I have empathy. And save the rent. Yeah, it's storage units now. Forget $100. They're like $200-300, man. But I understand it. But it's a mental and emotional thing. But it's tough, man. I did this once after renting it for over a year. That's the key. It's like everything. Once they got you, they get you in. Oh, that dude over there, aka Mike, $5 all the way from Canada. Hey, Sam. How's your evening? Starbucks on me. Damn it, man. You've been more than gracious, man. Thank you, brother. I'll use that tomorrow morning, man. At 5 o'clock a.m., I'll be up. Overall, my evening's going well. Finished the week strong. Like I said, I one little thing in the parking lot like 20 minutes ago got me a little bit uneasy. But I'll be going back to the home base soon. But thank you, Mike. I showed up. I'm trying to stay positive. I'm trying to overcome some personal things that I'm keeping private. Yeah, Mike, you totally nailed it. 5 a.m. or 6 a.m., whenever your Starbucks open, when you get there before the masses, because everyone sleeps till 7, 8, 9 o'clock, when you get there before everyone, one is you get right in front of the line. Two is all the coffee's fresh. And as I got older, it wasn't when I was younger, but as I got older, the value in waking up early and having your coffee early and starting your day is everyone's still sleeping. So there's like this quiet space where you can have your coffee, get yourself going, and then I always do some work right away, get some productivity out of the way, and then I go to the gym. And it's like the Army saying, they used to have the Army saying, like, we get more done by 9 a.m. than most people do in a day. And that's fact. Because if you're just getting up at 9 a.m., the day already kicked your ass, man. That's fact. Again, unless you're very young, very elderly, or very sick, or you work the night shift. As I got older, it wasn't when I was very young, but as I got older, I put I learned the value, and then I still have to push myself. Believe me, at 5 a.m. sometimes I say, I'll sleep till 6, I'll sleep till 7. And then what I learned through my experience, every time I sleep till 6 or 7, then when I get up, time I get to Starbucks, they got to make another pot of coffee or they give me the cold coffee. It's too crowded in there. The drive-thru's packed up. I'm already behind on work. Then I'm late to the gym. I want every morning when you wake up by 5 a.m. and you push yourself out of bed, that's the greatest obstacle. Why? You'll realize after you have your cup of coffee and get productive, you realize you're ahead of the game. Because if you start your day at 8, 9 o'clock, the whole game, like my man was just talking, Steve was talking about the NBA Finals. If you're playing the entire game from behind, you could still win, but that game hard as hell to win. Now, even when you play from ahead, you got to finish strong. Run through the tape. Don't get complacent. Stay under self-control. Don't start shooting up threes. Don't take too much risk. Calculated risk. Don't play too much defense without playing offense. You got to do both, but you know what I mean. All right, good job. Let's finish up strong here. Johnny. Hey, Johnny. What are you getting from the Starbucks these days? Every day is pretty much the same thing. A medium pike with steamed soy milk, no sugar. And then once in a while, when I'm feeling a little frisky, in the afternoon, I have egg white egg bites or spinach fetty wrap. But in the morning, I just bring my own protein bar, and I have that with my pike place with steamed soy milk. Ooh, so good. And some Trenta ice water. Seth, thank you for showing the back scratcher. Yeah, cost you $100.25 now. Yeah, I got that back scratcher before inflation. You say, I hate the world. I wish inflation never happened. Well, if you go back to before inflation happened, you'd have to go back to 1930s, because remember, inflation's been happening since, well, probably mainly since we got off the gold standard. But think about society before the gold standard, 1960s. How good was society really? How modern was society? You think you'd be on a live feed? You think you'd be door dashing? You think you'd be watching videos? Remember, when the Federal Reserve started printing money, what they did was they modernized the economy to give us more amenities. Remember, without the Federal Reserve, we're all farmers. So if you hate the Federal Reserve, you must love to be a farmer. That means that you have to milk cows for your productivity. So I remember I watched it when I was, researching, investing and trading and everything. I remember I watched that one interview with this guy. He was an investor from the UK. And he said, look, I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah, some of the Federal Reserve and the powers to be, it's a little bit corrupt. I'm not going to lie. He goes, but the flip side of that, if you take away the Federal Reserve and modern economic systems, what happens? We're back to living off the land. Everyone's a farmer. Corporations are not able to raise money through the equity markets. Corporations are the ones who bring you advances in technologies. Again, Google, internet, gaming, the automobile, which eventually will be self-driving, modern day healthcare. You say, oh, I hate pharma, I hate big pharma, I hate healthcare. Well, I want to tell you, just remember, before modern day healthcare, you get a cavity or you break your leg, you don't have anesthesia. You don't have a dentist. You don't have a doctor. What you have is a bottle of whiskey and some guy with pliers who's a mechanic during the day, fixing your horse and buggy, and he pulls your teeth after you take 2 shots of whiskey. And then he sets your leg back in place and you'll never walk straight again. So everything has a counterbalance is what I'm saying. I mean, everything has a good and bad. But overall, modern society, overall, there's negatives, but overall is better than it was 100 years ago. If you're struggling in 2023, if you think your life would be better in 1903, I want you to really think that out. Because if you really think that out, I think you're going to have a hard time, if you're being honest, thinking it would be. And that's how again, this is how you talk yourself off of too much negativity. It's just like, yeah, I get it. There's stuff that's wrong and I don't like certain things. And when I have a bad day, I hate things too. But you don't want to go back too far because it's not positive. So even if this back scratcher was 5 cents in 1903, I'll take $1.25 in 2023. You think they had free porn in 1903? I don't think so. Oh, Christine Good, you're still with me too. Damn it, Christine Good, $5 super chat. You deserve your privacy. I need Christine. You've been with me a long. Christine, I'll never forget. I'll never forget your advice. And I didn't take some of it, but I should. You said, Sam, go with quality. I'll never forget that comment you left. I believe that was you, right, Christine? Kristen says, you deserve your privacy. I need some for my well-being. You can always tell us stuff. Thank you. And I will share it. I have shared some things. We love you either way. Not the good people always love you. You've been one of the good people. You've been give great advice too. You've been very kind and generous and patient with me. Christina, thank you. You've been more than gracious. And I want to repeat what she told me. She said, Sam, sometimes it's better to go with a little bit quality. Spend a little more, go a little quality. Not always, okay, but I remember that. Yeah, that was you. I knew it was you. I think about that often. But sometimes when I double think myself, as long as I didn't make a reckless decision, I said, well, it's impossible to tell how things would be if I made a different decision. Because every decision would always bring some negativity. And that's the biggest thing I learned through the home base. There's nothing perfect. Okay. So no matter what path you choose, it brings some negativity. Like if I sell the home base and I go back to being a full-time nomad, I get a little bit more of this like uninhibited freedom. But then I also, believe me guys, I'm enjoying having a place to go every night, and not having to always fight the crazy shit in the world. So, but it's not perfect. And it's okay, it's not perfect, but I gotta ask myself, one, sometimes it hasn't been healthy, and two, is it my best? And that's the thing I struggle with. But I'm gonna overcome that, and that's the other thing. Like, the only way you overcome it is you got to go through it. You can study, you can research, and you need to, but you got to go through it and learn through it and grow through it. Cartoon Mark, oh my God, I can't believe, brother, but you don't have to. Thank you, number one, Cartoon Mark. I love you. You know that. And I know you love me. And I know we had a little bit of a thing, but I appreciate you doing that. You didn't have to. Okay. Because like I said, I don't want to take advantage of you. That is not my desire at all. You know that. But let me read your comment. I don't want to overtalk this situation. Sam, I apologize. Well, I apologize. I don't want to hurt you either. That's not my desire. But let me read your comment and then soak it in. Sam, I apologize for being an impulsive jerk. Well, I don't want you to over apologize to me, because I understand that you were just trying to push me off the subject. And I don't want us to have a relationship where I control you and you feel, because I know you truly felt that, not to hurt me, but I know that you just truly felt that you wanted me to back off. And I want you to be able to do that, but I want you to be able to do that with that thief you're living with. That's all I was saying. And but I don't have the right to tell you that. And that's what I say, you know what? But either way, like, and I don't even mean to say that to be hurtful, but I don't want to be now. I don't want you to have to apologize to me, because it's not fair to you. I don't want to rule over you, but I also don't want to get too involved in your life and say like negative things about the person you're with, because that's disrespectful to you. So that's where I'm wrong. And I apologize for that. And I don't know how to. I don't know how to kind of find that balance there, you know. And that's I just I just got to keep doing me because I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to disrespect you. I don't I don't. But let me keep reading your comment. I hope you understand what I'm saying. I'll never forget your advice to me. I'll never forget your drawings and your to me. No matter what happened, no matter what I feel, I still think the same thing. I think you're very talented. I think you're very kind. I think sometimes too kind, but that's okay too. And I think you're a great person, period. And the other parts that I may think, I shouldn't think out loud because it's not my business. And it's just tough for me, but that's when I'm learning that I just can't get too involved. It's just like other people I know in life. And it's fair for you to say don't get too involved. And that's that I struggle with. But I'm sorry too. I'm saying all that to say I'm making this long ass comment, and I don't mean to be. All right, I'll never forget your advice either. They are now offering me a supervisor's position. I would take it. In my job, I'm scared but excited. I think you should take it. I think you're a leader. Um, and look, yeah, I think you have everything it takes, man. When I think about, I said, well, does this guy have what it takes? Well, one is by taking that position and changing, which I know change is not easy for you. You showed me you have what it takes. It's not about what I think, it's you showed everyone you have what it takes. You changed. And you changed before you met me. And that's why I'm not giving myself credit. You changed. Why? Because you did things before you met me. And that's why I always tell people when you feel weak and when you feel like you can't overcome something, think about what you've already overcome. You worked a variety of jobs. You worked your side hustle. You were doing cartoonists before you did YouTube. And I'm sure there's a lot of other things you didn't share publicly that you've overcome. Have you failed? We've all failed. But you're still there. You're still doing you. And, your father gives you great advice, and your father gave you the same advice I gave you sometimes. Those kids will figure out where to live. Don't worry, but I don't want to get too involved. That's what I think about it. I said, me and his father would probably agree, but I shouldn't get too involved. But bottom line, Mark, I think highly of you. Still do. Obviously, we had a disagreement, and I'm sorry if I hurt you. And I appreciate you. And I don't think, I don't think either of us were trying to be negative. But I think one is, again, I just got too involved. That's my fault. But anyway, back to you. The good news is you're doing what you need to do for yourself. So I think take the promotion and figure it out as you go. I think keep doing your creativity. Keep drawing. Keep doing your cartoons on the side. Keep going for a walk. And if you fall, you get back up. These are all things you were doing before me, so I don't get credit for them. I'm just reminding you to be your best self. And look, don't, and this is just general, not specific, and I'm saying this to myself and everyone. Don't stay where you're not celebrated. Now, sometimes you have to stay where you're not celebrated to get where you need to get. That's part of life. But don't be scared to change because you're scared to be alone or you're scared to take a little bit more risk. Everything within responsibility. Don't do anything reckless. But when we're at a point, and I'm speaking in general now because I think about the obstacles I have to overcome. We all have similar obstacles. When we're at a point where we have to ask ourselves, okay, should I just deal with this? Or should I try to overcome this? Backwoods, you damn nailed it. This is exactly what I meant. Strive to be your best self. Damn it, Backwoods. And again, I want to share with you that I'm asking myself this recently. We're all going through our own thing, but this is what I says. So Sam, am I settling here? And in a way, not where we're saying, oh, the grass is always greener. Not where we're saying, oh, if I'm uncomfortable, I go to the next thing. No, not in that way. Because I always say, pull back. I always told people I owned a house for 13 years before I sold it. I own this home base now for over a year. So don't just bang, 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 bang. But if you need to, bang, 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 bang. Remember, as an adult, your greatest blessing is to be able to call your shots if you do what you need to do. So sometimes if I'm in an environment where I don't feel like the reciprocal energy, the reciprocal appreciation is there, it's not their job to make me feel my best. It's my job. And my job is to always put me in an environment that I'm my best. Because I want to tell you one thing, I want you could bring this motherfucker to the bank, what I'm about to tell you now. The people around you won't change. If they don't celebrate you now, if they don't like you now, if they don't inspire you now, 5 years from now, it ain't going to be much different. And this is where we get to that intersection of our soul. Write that down. We're going to do a live feed on it. / put it on a t-shirt. The intersection of your soul. Where either you're going to fluff your pillow and settle in suffering, or you're going to rip your sheets off at 5 o'clock in the morning and you're going to overcome an obstacle. And you're going to go through suffering and go to a whole nother dimension. David, you also a very good observer. I am more calm with the home base. That's the one value I'll say, is that knowing I have a privacy and a place to go every night that's not going to be crazy. And that's a value. And that's why, like, even as I change things up, and even if I would sell the home base, going forward, I'm probably still going to have some level of a home base. And if not the same one I have, because at a certain point, that stability is a value. Or else, if I saw no value in it, I'd just cut loose. I mean, do what you got to do, cut loose. Either way, guys and girls, Mark, I love you, man. I know I said a lot there, but I thank you for coming in. And I want you to know I love you. That's the main thing. Whether we're getting along or we're not, even the people that haven't gone astray on the channel, I want everyone to live a great life for themselves. And I want you to look at your life and think about what you've accomplished. And if you failed, I want you to forgive yourself and move forward. For yourself. Because that's what I want for myself. All of us, young, old, rich or poor, home base or no home base, all of us have obstacles in our life. That's the one thing I've learned. I have a variety of experience in life. Everyone's dealing with something. Guarantee you. And that's what I said to myself too. And that's the one good thing that came like with my thing with Mark and stuff. I said, wow, Sam, one is step back and, just look at life, man. Everyone's got something, man. I got to take care of me so that I have something for myself and then something to overflow and give. It's very hard to be giving creatively and passionately when you're at ground zero for yourself. You got to take care of yourself. But when I do go to abundance and passion now, I still want to let go if I need to let go and be fiery passionate. But I also got to control the fire. Remember, a campfire that's not controlled will set a forest fire. Remember, someone shooting threes that's on fire, if you start to depend on that person always being on fire, you're not going to win a championship. Why? You still got to have disciplines. You still got to come back on defense. You still got to get some layups. It's an amazing thing when someone's on fire. When someone's on fire, it's like this moment of like brilliance, which it's magic and hard work. It's hard work, tenacity meets this magical moment. But To sustain championships, you got to have more than just that moment of brilliance. You got to have the ability to show up, get back up when you fall, and the grace of God along the way, luck, whatever. Either way, guys and girls, I hope these videos help you in some way. I know there may have been a couple comments I haven't gotten to, and forgive me if I haven't, but I think I got to most of them. I want to thank everyone, guys, and I hope that I help you more than I hurt you. I thank you. I believe that you've helped me more than I've been hurt online. It's um, go in peace. Let me just end like that, and thank you.